She was nobody, a convenience store clerk working the graveyard shift, a woman with sad eyes and gentle hands who'd come to Seoul to escape her own grief. Dorothy Stowers had no idea that saving one life would cost her everything. It started with a man walking through the rain at 3 a.m., expensive suit ruined, hair soaked, eyes hollow with exhaustion. In his arms, a screaming infant that sounded like his soul was being torn apart. The most feared mafia boss in Korea looked at Dorothy and said 4 words. "I don't know why I'm here." Neither did she, until she held the baby, until the impossible happened, until silence fell like a benediction, and the cursed child who'd driven away doctors and terrified nannies finally stopped screaming. What Dorothy did next, breastfeeding a stranger's baby in a fluorescent-lit store while grown men turned away in shock, should have been the end of the story. A moment of mercy, a brief miracle, then return to normal life. But Si-woo Kang doesn't believe in normal. When she tried to leave, when she walked toward the door like this meant nothing, he felt something crack inside his chest. The baby reached for her, whimpered, "I needed her." And Si-woo, for the first time since his wife died, felt exactly the same way. His command was quiet, final, unbreakable. "Find out who she is, and bring her to me. I won't let her go." Dorothy Stowers had come to Seoul to be invisible. But you can't stay invisible once the devil decides to see you. Before we continue, if you want to know how one act of mercy turned a convenience store clerk into the obsession of Seoul's most dangerous man, and why a crying baby became the beginning of the most twisted love story the underworld has ever seen, smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications, because this dark romance will haunt you. Si-woo Kang hadn't slept in 17 days. The devil of Seoul, the man whose name made hardened criminals whisper prayers, was being destroyed by something weighing less than 8 pounds. His son. The baby his wife died bringing into this world. The baby who wouldn't stop screaming. It started the night Camilla took her last breath. The doctors handed Si-woo a squalling infant, and from that moment, the child had barely stopped crying. Not the normal fussing of newborns. This was different. Primal. Endless. A sound that seemed to crack the walls and shatter sanity. The first nanny lasted 2 days before she quit, eyes wide with terror. The baby. He stares at things that aren't there, and the room gets cold. So cold. The second nanny made it 4 days. I heard whispering in an empty nursery. I'm sorry, Mr. Kang, but I can't stay. By the 5th nanny, Si-woo stopped being polite. He tripled the salary, offered bonuses, made thinly veiled threats. She lasted 6 hours. Your son is cursed, she'd said, backing toward the door. Whatever took his mother, it's still here, watching, waiting. Dr. Yoon, the pediatrician, found nothing medically wrong. He's healthy, strong. I don't understand the constant crying. Perhaps you should consider other explanations. Other explanations? I'm a man of science, Mr. Kang. But sometimes he'd trailed off, unwilling to finish the sentence. Si-woo had fired him anyway. The mansion staff whispered. His guards exchanged nervous glances. Even Min-jun, who'd stood beside Si-woo through gang wars and assassination attempts, looked uneasy when entering the nursery. Boss, he'd said carefully on day 14, maybe we should bring in a shaman or a priest. Something's not right here. Si-woo had wanted to rage at the superstition, but he was too exhausted, too broken. Because when he held his son, this tiny, screaming piece of Camila that was all he had left, he felt it too. The cold, the watching, the wrongness, and he didn't know how to fight something he couldn't see. On night 17, Siwoo broke. It was 2:47 a.m. The baby had been screaming for 6 straight hours. Siwoo stood in the nursery, holding his son, rocking him, begging him to stop. "Please," he whispered. "Please, Ji-hoon, I don't know what you need. I don't know how to help you." The baby just screamed louder. Something in Siwoo snapped. He grabbed the baby's carrier, wrapped Ji-hoon in a blanket, and walked out of the mansion. "Sir?" Min-jun appeared immediately. "Where are you?" "I'm driving. I don't know where. I need him to stop." "Let me drive." "No. Stay here. Call if there's trouble." Siwoo got into his car with his screaming son and drove into the Seoul night. Rain pounded the windshield. The city was nearly empty at this hour. He drove without direction, without purpose, just needing to move, needing to do something. 40 minutes later, he pulled into the parking lot of a 24-hour convenience store in a neighborhood he'd never visited. The baby was still screaming. Siwoo sat in the car, head against the steering wheel, listening to his son's cries and wondering how much longer he could survive this. Then he looked up and saw the light. The convenience store glowed against the darkness like a small beacon. And through the window, he saw a figure. A woman, moving calmly between aisles, organizing shelves like the world outside wasn't drowning in rain and chaos. Siwoo didn't know why he got out of the car, didn't know why he grabbed the carrier with his screaming son and walked through the rain to that door. But when he pushed it open, and the woman behind the counter looked up, everything changed. Dorothy Stowers was used to strange customers at 3 a.m. The drunk ones, the high ones, the ones coming off night shifts who were too tired to be polite. She'd learned to read people quickly in the 6 months since she'd come to Seoul, learned when to be friendly and when to keep the counter between herself and trouble. But when the door opened and a man walked in carrying a screaming baby, she knew this was different. The man was soaked from rain, expensive suit ruined, hair plastered to his forehead. But it was his eyes that caught her. Exhausted beyond measure, haunted, desperate. And the baby in the carrier he held was screaming like his soul was being torn apart. Dorothy's heart clenched. That sound. She knew that sound. She'd heard it 3 months ago from her own daughter before. "No, don't think about that." "Can I help you?" she asked, keeping her voice neutral. The man just stood there, rain dripping onto the floor, staring at her like she was a mirage. "Sir?" "I don't know," he said finally, voice rough. "I don't know why I'm here. I was just driving. And the baby won't stop crying. He hasn't stopped in 17 days. 17 days, and I don't know what to do anymore." Dorothy came around the counter slowly. Up close, she could see the man more clearly. Late 30s maybe, handsome in a sharp, dangerous way. Tattoos peeked out from under his wet collar. This wasn't a normal, exhausted father. This was someone important, someone dangerous. But right now, he just looked broken. "Have you taken him to a doctor?" she asked gently. 5 doctors, 3 hospitals. They say nothing's wrong." He laughed bitterly. "My staff thinks he's cursed, that something's wrong with him. With me, with—" He stopped, jaw clenching. Dorothy looked at the baby. He was beautiful despite the screaming. Perfect features, tiny fists clenched, face red with effort. She'd sworn she wouldn't do this again, wouldn't let herself get close to any baby after losing her daughter. But something about this child's cry was different. Not angry, afraid. "May I?" she asked, gesturing to the baby. The man hesitated. "You don't have to." "I know. May I?" He looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. Dorothy reached into the carrier and gently lifted the baby. The moment her hands touched him, she felt it. A coldness that wasn't natural, a presence that made her skin prickle. But she didn't flinch. "Hello, little one," she murmured softly. "You're scared, aren't you? It's okay, you're okay." The baby's screaming hesitated, not stopped, but changed, like he was listening. "What's his name?" Dorothy asked. "Ji-hoon, Kang Ji-hoon." "Hello, Ji-hoon." She held him close, swaying gently. "I know the world is big and scary. I know you miss your mama. I know everything hurts right now." The screaming stopped. The silence was so sudden, so complete, that both adults froze. Siwoo stared. "How did you—" "Shh," Dorothy whispered, not to him but to the baby. "That's better, isn't it?" Ji-hoon's eyes, dark and too aware for an infant, fixed on her face. His tiny hand reached up, grasping her finger with surprising strength. And then he whimpered. Not a scream. A small, hungry sound. Dorothy knew that sound. "When did he last eat?" she asked. 2 hours ago. He wouldn't finish the bottle. He never finishes. Dorothy looked at the baby, then at the desperate father, and made a decision that would change her life. "Turn around," she said quietly. "What?" "Turn around. Face the door. Don't turn back until I tell you." Siwoo's eyes narrowed. "Why?" "Please, trust me." Something in her voice made him obey. He turned to face the door, every muscle tense. Dorothy moved to the corner of the store where the security camera had a blind spot. She'd learned all of them during her shifts. She adjusted her shirt, cradled Ji-hoon close, and guided him to her breast. The baby latched immediately, desperately, like he'd been waiting for this his whole short life. And for the first time in 17 days, Kang Ji-hoon was at peace. Question for you. What would you do if a stranger saved your child with an act so intimate, so impossible, that it defied everything you thought you knew? Keep watching, because Siwoo's answer will change 2 lives forever. Siwoo stood facing the door, listening to the sound of nothing. Silence. After 17 days of screaming that had driven away doctors, nannies, and his own sanity, silence. "How?" he started. "Don't turn around yet," the woman said softly. "He's eating." Siwoo's mind raced. Eating? But he'd tried everything. Different formulas, different bottles, different feeding schedules. Nothing worked. What was she doing that he hadn't tried? Minutes passed. Siwoo watched rain stream down the window, heard the quiet sounds of his son, nursing, contentedly making small sounds he'd never heard before. "Okay," the woman said finally. "You can look now." Siwoo turned slowly. The sight stopped him cold. The woman, this stranger whose name he didn't even know, stood near the back of the store, holding Ji-hoon against her shoulder. The baby's eyes were closed. His tiny body completely relaxed in sleep. His son was sleeping. "What did you—" Siwoo's voice failed. "He was hungry," she said simply. "Formula wasn't enough. He needed—" "Needed what?" She looked at him directly, and he saw something in her eyes, grief, understanding, a shared pain. He needed a mother's comfort, Sometimes that's the only thing that works. Siwoo stepped closer, staring at his sleeping son like he was a miracle. But how? You're a stranger. How did you— I lost my daughter 3 months ago, she said quietly. I still have milk, and your son needed it. The confession hung in the air between them. Siwoo felt something crack in his chest. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have imposed. You didn't impose. I chose. She looked down at Ji-hoon. He was hurting. I know that kind of hurt. I wanted to help. Who are you? Just Dorothy. Just Dorothy who works in a convenience store at 3 a.m. and saves lives? A small smile touched her lips. Something like that. Siwoo moved closer, studying her properly now. She was beautiful, warm brown skin, gentle eyes, natural hair pulled back in a simple style. But more than beautiful, she was calm, steady, everything his world hadn't been since Camilla died. My wife, he said suddenly. She died giving birth to him. 17 days ago. The doctors tried everything, but there were complications, and He stopped, surprised he was even saying this to a stranger. I'm so sorry, Dorothy said, and it sounded genuine. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to be a father. And when he wouldn't stop crying, when nothing I did helped, I thought— He couldn't finish. You thought you were failing him. Yes, you're not. You're here. You're trying. That's not failure. Siwoo looked at his son, peaceful for the first time since birth. He's never been this quiet, never this content. Maybe he just needed to feel safe. With you, a stranger. Sometimes strangers are safer than the people we know. Something about that statement felt loaded. But before Siwoo could analyze it, Ji-hoon stirred, made a small sound, and his eyes fluttered open. For a heartbeat, the baby looked at his father. Then he turned toward Dorothy and reached for her with both tiny hands, whimpering. He doesn't want to leave you, Siwoo observed, something tightening in his chest. He's just comfortable. It'll pass. But when Dorothy gently tried to transfer Ji-hoon to his father, the baby's whimper became a cry, not the violent screaming from before, but a clear protest. Siwoo froze. His son, his own son, was choosing a stranger over him. It should have hurt. Instead, he felt relief. Because if this stranger could give Ji-hoon peace, Siwoo would do anything to keep her close. Dorothy finally managed to settle Ji-hoon in his carrier, though the baby's eyes tracked her every movement. Thank you, Siwoo said, and the words felt inadequate. I don't— Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad I could help. She turned to go back to the counter, clearly assuming this strange encounter was over. But Siwoo's hand shot out, catching her wrist. Not roughly, but firmly. She looked at him with surprise and a flicker of wariness. I need your help, he said. I already helped. I need more than one night. He stopped, realizing how insane this sounded. My son responds to you. He's calm with you. He's been screaming for 17 days straight, and 1 hour with you gave him peace. That's nice, but I'll pay you. Whatever you want. Name your price. Dorothy pulled her wrist free gently. I'm not for sale. That's not what I meant. I'm asking you to work for me. As his nanny. His caretaker. Whatever you want to call it. I have a job. I'll pay you 10 times what you make here. It's not about money. Then what is it about? She looked at him for a long moment. I don't know you. I don't know anything about you, except that you're clearly someone important, probably someone dangerous. And you're asking me to uproot my life to take care of a baby who isn't mine. He needs you. He needs his father. His father doesn't know how to help him. You do. So you learn. I've tried. Siwoo's composure cracked. For 17 days, I've tried everything. And my son screams like he's in agony every waking moment, until tonight. Until you. Please. The desperation in his voice was real, raw, un-mafia-like. Dorothy softened slightly. Where do you live? Gangnam. I'll send a car for you. You'll have your own room, your own space. You can leave whenever you want. Just try. 1 week. If it doesn't work, I'll double whatever salary we agree on, and you can walk away. She should say no. Every instinct screamed this was dangerous. But when she looked at the baby, sleeping peacefully for the first time in over 2 weeks, she saw her daughter, saw the baby she'd lost, saw a chance to maybe heal something broken inside herself. 1 week, she said finally. Trial period. If your son doesn't need me after that, I'm gone. Agreed. And I want to know who you are. Really, not whatever public story you have. The truth. Siwoo hesitated. Then, my name is Siwoo Kang. I run a business organization. We handle security, imports, and territorial management across Seoul. That's a very diplomatic way of saying you're a crime lord. His eyebrows rose. You're perceptive. I'm not stupid. The tattoos, the way you move, the fact that you're offering obscene amounts of money to a stranger, I can read context clues. Does that bother you? Should it? Most people are afraid of me. Most people aren't me. Siwoo smiled. Actually smiled. For the first time in 17 days. No, they're not. He pulled out a business card, wrote an address on the back. Tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. A car will pick you up here. Dorothy took the card. What if I don't show up? Then I'll respect your decision. But I hope you do. Ji-hoon stirred in his carrier, eyes opening slightly. He looked at Dorothy, made a small sound, not crying, just acknowledging her. She touched his tiny hand. See you tomorrow, little one. The baby's fingers wrapped around hers, and Siwoo knew he'd found something irreplaceable. Dorothy didn't sleep that night. She lay in her tiny apartment, staring at the ceiling, mind racing through the implications of what she'd agreed to. Work for a mafia boss. Live in his house. Take care of his infant son. It was insane. But the alternative was continuing her current existence. Working night shifts at a convenience store, living alone in grief. Pretending the empty nursery she'd set up for her daughter didn't haunt her dreams. At least this insanity had purpose. She called the one person she trusted in Seoul, her cousin Jasmine, who'd helped her relocate after her husband and daughter died. You're doing what? Jasmine's voice crackled through the phone. I know how it sounds. You're moving in with a stranger? A criminal stranger? He needs help with his baby. There are professional nannies for that. The baby responds to me. I don't know why, but he does. And Jazz? I need this. Need what? To put yourself in danger? To feel useful again? To have a reason to wake up? Dorothy's voice cracked. I've been drowning for 3 months. Maybe this is a life raft. Jasmine was quiet for a long moment. If anything feels wrong, if he scares you, threatens you, anything, you call me immediately. I will come get you. I will. I mean it, Dot. Seoul's underworld isn't a joke. These people are dangerous. I know, but dangerous might be exactly what Dorothy needed to feel alive again. At 5:45 p.m. the next evening, a black luxury sedan pulled up outside the convenience store. Minjun stepped out, tall, muscular, wearing an expensive suit and an expression that promised violence to anyone who caused problems. He entered the store, looked around, spotted Dorothy. Miss Stowers? She'd changed into clean clothes, packed a small bag. That's me. I'm Min Jun, Mr. Kang's head of security. I'll be driving you to the residence. Is this the part where you give me the speech about not causing trouble? Min Jun's lips twitched. Mr. Kang mentioned you were perceptive. To be clear, you're here because you helped Ji-hoon. That earns you respect. But if you do anything to harm that child or betray the boss's trust, there won't be speeches. Understand? Crystal clear. Good. Let's go. The drive to Gangnam took 30 minutes. Dorothy watched Seoul's cityscape transform from working-class neighborhoods to gleaming high-rises and luxury developments. They pulled up to a mansion that looked more like a fortress. High walls, security gates, cameras everywhere. This is where you live? Dorothy asked. This is where Mr. Kang lives. The rest of us have quarters nearby. The gates opened. They drove through manicured gardens to a massive modern mansion that screamed wealth and power. Si-woo was waiting at the entrance. He'd cleaned up since last night. Tailored suit, hairstyled, looking every inch the powerful crime lord. But his eyes still held that exhaustion, that desperation. Dorothy, thank you for coming. I said I would. Let me show you to your room first. Then we'll discuss details. He led her through the mansion, marble floors, expensive art, rooms bigger than her entire apartment. The staff they passed bowed deeply, eyes averted. Fear. Everyone here feared him. But when they reached the nursery, Si-woo's entire demeanor changed. The room was beautiful, soft colors, expensive furniture, toys and books waiting for when Ji-hoon was older. But it felt cold, empty. And from a bassinet in the corner came a sound Dorothy had hoped not to hear again. Screaming. He started again around noon, Si-woo said, jaw tight. I thought maybe last night was just, I don't know, exhaustion finally winning. But no. The moment he woke up, it started again. Dorothy moved to the bassinet. Ji-hoon's face was red, tiny fists clenched, body rigid with distress. May I? Please. She lifted him gently. Hello again, little one. Remember me? The screaming stopped instantly. Ji-hoon's eyes focused on her face, and his whole body relaxed. Si-woo let out a breath he'd been holding. It's not just a coincidence. He really does respond to you. It seems so. With Dorothy rocked the baby gently. I don't know. Maybe because I understand loss. Maybe because I'm calm when everyone else is afraid. Maybe there's no reason at all, and babies are just mysterious. The staff thinks he's cursed. Is he? I don't believe in curses. But you feel it too. The coldness in this room. The watching. Si-woo's expression tightened. You feel it? Yeah. There's something here. I don't know what. But your son isn't evil. He's just haunted by grief that isn't his own. Camila, your wife loved him? She never got to hold him. Died before they could put him in her arms. Si-woo's voice was rough. Sometimes I wonder if her spirit is still here, trying to reach him, trying to... I don't know. It sounds insane. Grief makes us believe impossible things. That doesn't mean they're not real. Ji-hoon whimpered, nuzzling against Dorothy. He's hungry again, she observed. There's formula in the… That's not what he needs. Understanding dawned on Si-woo's face. You're willing to… If it helps him, yes, but not here. Somewhere private. My study. No cameras, no staff. He led her to a massive office, dark wood, floor-to-ceiling windows, the center of his criminal empire. And there, in the most dangerous room in Seoul, Dorothy fed a mafia boss's son with the tenderness of a mother. Si-woo watched, and something in his cold heart began to thaw. Over the next 3 days, a routine developed. Dorothy moved into the mansion's guest suite, luxurious beyond anything she'd experienced. She spent most of her time with Ji-hoon, learning his patterns, his needs, his moods. And the baby thrived. He still cried sometimes. All babies did. But the violent, endless screaming stopped. He ate, he slept. He even smiled at Dorothy a few times, tiny expressions that made her heart break and heal simultaneously. But the strangeness didn't stop. On the second night, Dorothy woke at 2 a.m. to the sound of whispers. She sat up, listening. The whispers seemed to come from the nursery, but when she checked, Ji-hoon was sleeping peacefully. The whispers continued. Find him, my baby. Where is my baby? Dorothy's skin prickled. Camilla. The whispers stopped, but the room got colder. So cold she could see her breath. I'm taking care of him, Dorothy said to the empty air. Your son is safe. I promise, slowly. The cold receded. The next morning, Dorothy found Si-woo in his study. Your wife is still here, she said without preamble. He looked up from his laptop. What? In the nursery, in the halls, everywhere. She's looking for Ji-hoon. That's impossible. You felt the cold. You heard the whispers. Don't pretend you haven't. Si-woo stood, moved to the windows. I don't believe in ghosts. Then what do you believe in? Power, control, things I can see and manipulate. Love? He froze. What? Do you believe in love? Because your wife loved your son enough that death couldn't separate them. That's power. That's something you can't control. If she's really here, why is she scaring him? She's not trying to scare him. She's trying to reach him. But she doesn't know how. She's trapped between worlds, desperate. And her desperation is what's frightening him. How do you know this? Because I feel her. Every time I hold Ji-hoon, I feel her presence. She's not angry. She's heartbroken. Si-woo's jaw clenched. If this is true, if Camilla really is still here, how do we help her move on? I don't know. Maybe she just needs to know he's safe, that he's loved. He is. Does she know that? Have you told her? How do you tell a ghost you're sorry she died? Dorothy moved to him, placed a hand on his arm. You talk to her, right? You tell her everything you wished you could have said. You let her go. I can't. You have to. For Ji-hoon. For yourself. For her. That night, Si-woo entered the nursery alone. Dorothy waited outside, giving him privacy. She heard his voice through the door, low, breaking, raw, with grief. Camilla, if you're here, if you can hear me, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I promised to protect you, and I failed. I let you die bringing our son into this world, and I'll never forgive myself for that. Silence. Then Si-woo continued. He's beautiful. He has your eyes, your strength. And I'm trying. God, I'm trying to be the father he deserves, but I don't know how. I don't know how to do this without you. A cold breeze swept through the nursery, despite the closed windows. I need you to let go. I need you to stop haunting this place. Stop scaring our son. He's safe. Dorothy is taking care of him. He's going to grow up strong and loved and everything we dreamed he'd be. The temperature dropped further. Please, Camila, please let go. Let me learn to live without you. Let Ji-hoon grow up without your grief shadowing him. I love you. I'll always love you. But you need to rest now. For a long moment, nothing. Then, impossibly, Si-woo felt something. A warmth. A gentle touch on his cheek. A whisper that sounded like goodbye. And the cold vanished. When Si-woo emerged from the nursery, his eyes were red but clear. She's gone, he said. Are you sure? I felt it. She let go. Dorothy looked into the nursery. Ji-hoon slept peacefully, and the room felt lighter, warmer, normal. She was just saying goodbye, Dorothy said softly. Sometimes love needs closure. Thank you for making me face that. You did the hard part. Si-woo looked at her, really looked at her. This stranger who'd walked into his life 3 days ago and somehow fixed everything that was broken. I won't let you go. The words came out before he could stop them. Dorothy blinked. What? After the week, after the trial period. I won't let you go. Ji-hoon needs you. He stopped, seeming to catch himself. Stay, please. Si-woo, I know it's selfish. I know you have your own life, but my son is thriving with you. He's happy. He's safe, and I won't risk losing that. You're asking me to give up everything. I'm asking you to build something new, here, with us. Dorothy wanted to refuse, wanted to maintain boundaries, keep her heart protected. But when she looked at Ji-hoon sleeping peacefully, when she felt the warmth of being needed again, she couldn't say no. Here's a question for you. When does caregiving become something more? When does protection become possession? Keep watching, because the line is about to blur in ways neither of them expected. 2 weeks became a month. 1 month became 2. Dorothy settled into life at the mansion with surprising ease. Ji-hoon grew stronger, healthier, more animated with each passing day. The screaming never returned. The coldness vanished completely, and Si-woo found himself watching Dorothy more than he should. The way she hummed while feeding his son. The way she laughed when Ji-hoon grabbed her hair. The way she moved through his home like she belonged there. It terrified him, because the last woman he'd loved had died. And loving someone again meant opening himself to that kind of loss. But he couldn't stop. One evening, Si-woo found Dorothy in the library, reading while Ji-hoon slept in her arms. You don't have to hold him constantly, Si-woo said. He's old enough to sleep in his crib. I know, but I like holding him. You'll spoil him. Good. Every child should be spoiled with love. Si-woo sat across from her. Can I ask you something personal? You can ask. I might not answer. Your daughter, what happened? Dorothy was quiet for a long moment. Sudden infant death syndrome. She was 3 months old, perfectly healthy one night, gone the next morning. No warning, no reason, just gone. I'm sorry. My husband blamed me, said I should have checked on her more, should have heard something. He left 2 weeks after the funeral. Divorce papers came a month later. That's unconscionable. That's grief. It makes people cruel. She looked down at Ji-hoon. I came to Seoul to escape the memories. Start over somewhere nobody knew me as the woman who lost her baby. But taking care of Ji-hoon must bring it all back. Every day. But it also heals something. I couldn't save my daughter, but I can help your son. That matters. Si-woo moved closer, sitting beside her. He's not the only one who needs you. Dorothy looked at him. What do you mean? I need you too, not just as his caretaker, as… He stopped, unsure how to finish. As what? I don't know. Something more. Something I don't have words for. Si-woo, don't say no yet, just think about it. He left before she could respond, but the words hung in the air between them. Something was shifting. And neither knew if it was dangerous or inevitable. The next morning, everything changed. Si-woo received a call during breakfast. His expression darkened as he listened. When? He demanded. How many? I see. Mobilize security. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up, jaw tight. What's wrong? Dorothy asked. Business. I need to leave. Min-jun will stay with you and Ji-hoon. Is it dangerous? My business always is. Si-woo. He stopped, turned back. Don't worry. I've survived worse. I'll be back before dinner. But there was something in his eyes that made Dorothy uneasy. Si-woo wasn't back for dinner. Or by midnight. Or by dawn. Dorothy paced the mansion with a fussy Ji-hoon, worry gnawing at her. At 3 a.m., Min-jun finally received a call. His face went white. What? Dorothy demanded. What happened? There was an ambush. Rival syndicate. Boss was shot. The world tilted. Is he? He's alive. In surgery. But it's bad. Dorothy handed Ji-hoon to Mrs. Kim. I'm coming with you. Miss Stowers, you don't need to… He's Ji-hoon's father. I'm coming. Min-jun saw the determination in her eyes and nodded. The hospital was in a secured wing, surrounded by Si-woo's men. Dorothy pushed through them all, Min-jun clearing the way. In a private room, Si-woo lay unconscious, hooked to machines, bandages covering his torso. Dorothy's breath caught. This powerful, dangerous man looked vulnerable, breakable. The doctors say he'll survive, Min-jun said quietly, but recovery will take weeks. Can I stay with him? Miss Stowers, please. Ji-hoon needs his father, and Si-woo needs… He needs to know someone's here. Min-jun studied her, then nodded. I'll have someone bring Ji-hoon. You can stay. Dorothy sat beside Si-woo's bed, holding his hand, watching his chest rise and fall. You can't die, she whispered. Your son needs you, and I… She stopped, startled by what she'd almost said. I need you too. When had that happened? When had the mafia boss who'd pulled her into his world become someone she couldn't imagine losing? Si-woo's fingers twitched in her hand. His eyes fluttered open, unfocused, heavy with drugs. Dorothy? I'm here. Ji-hoon, he's safe. He's coming. Min-jun's bringing him. Good. His eyes closed again. Don't leave. I won't. Promise. I promise. Si-woo's breathing evened out, and he slipped back into unconsciousness. But Dorothy stayed, holding his hand, keeping her promise. Because somewhere along the way, this forced arrangement had become something real. Si-woo recovered slowly. Dorothy brought Ji-hoon to the hospital daily. The baby cooed and reached for his father, and Si-woo's eyes would soften despite the pain. He's gotten bigger, Si-woo said one afternoon, voice still rough. Babies do that. Dorothy adjusted Ji-hoon in her arms. He misses you at the mansion. I miss him too. Then heal faster. Siwoo smiled, a real, genuine smile. You're bossy. Someone has to keep you in line. The banter felt natural, easy, like they'd known each other far longer than a few months. Dorothy, Siwoo said after a moment, I need to tell you something. What? The ambush. It wasn't random. Someone leaked my location. Someone inside my organization betrayed me. Do you know who? Min Jun is investigating, but until we find them, you and Ji-hoon aren't safe at the mansion. Where would we go? I have a safe house, completely off the books. I'll send you there with guards I trust implicitly. Without you? I need to stay visible, need to project strength. If I hide, it shows weakness, and weakness invites more attacks. So you'll risk your life while we hide? I'll risk my life to keep you safe. That's not how this works. Siwoo blinked. What? You don't get to make decisions for me. If you're in danger, I'm not running to some safe house while you face it alone. Dorothy, this isn't your fight. Yes, it is. Ji-hoon is my responsibility now. And you… She stopped, startled by her own vehemence. You're not just some employer anymore. You're… I'm what? Important. To Ji-hoon. To me. Siwoo's expression shifted. Surprise, hope, fear, all mixed together. Dorothy, don't. Don't say anything. Just heal. Come home, and we'll figure out the rest together. 2 weeks later, Siwoo was finally released. He came home to find Dorothy in the nursery, rocking Ji-hoon to sleep while humming a lullaby. The sight made his chest ache. Welcome home, she said softly. It's good to be back. How do you feel? Like I got shot, but alive, so I'm not complaining. She smiled, and Siwoo realized how much he'd missed that smile. We need to talk, he said. About the traitor? About us. Dorothy's eyes widened. Siwoo, I know this started as a business arrangement. I know you came here just to help Ji-hoon, but it's become more than that, for me, and I think maybe for you too. This is complicated. Everything about my life is complicated, but you're the simplest, clearest thing I have. You and Ji-hoon. I'm not looking for a relationship, neither am I, but we have one anyway. We're raising a child together, living together. You held my hand in that hospital and promised not to leave. That's not nothing. Dorothy looked down at Ji-hoon, sleeping peacefully. What are you asking? I'm asking if you'd consider staying, not as an employee, as family. Family. Yes, because that's what you've become. To Ji-hoon, to me. Dorothy's hands trembled slightly. I lost a family once. The pain nearly destroyed me. I lost Camilla. I understand that fear. Then you understand why I'm scared. I'm terrified too. But I know you're worth the risk. Dorothy looked at him, this dangerous, powerful man who'd somehow become vulnerable in her presence. I can't promise forever, she said quietly. I'm not asking for forever, just tomorrow and the day after. We'll figure out the rest as we go. And if it doesn't work, then we'll deal with it, together. Dorothy set Ji-hoon in his crib, then moved to Siwoo. Okay. Okay? Tomorrow, and the day after. We'll try. Siwoo pulled her close, gently, mindful of his healing wounds. Thank you. And for the first time since Camilla died, Siwoo felt hope. One final question. What happens when happiness makes you a target? Watch closely because someone's been waiting for Siwoo to find something worth protecting again. The traitor was found 3 days later. One of Siwoo's senior lieutenants, a man he'd trusted for years. The betrayal cut deep. Why? Siwoo asked, standing over the bound man in his basement. You've gone soft, the traitor spat. Playing house with some foreign woman and a baby. The devil of soul has become a joke. And you thought killing me would fix that? I thought it would open opportunities. Clearly, I underestimated your luck. Siwoo's expression went cold. Not luck, preparation, and loyalty from people smarter than you. He turned to Minjun. Handle it. Wait, the traitor called out. You should know, I'm not the only one who thinks you're weak. Others are watching, waiting. And that woman upstairs, she's made you vulnerable. They'll use her to get to you. Siwoo stopped. If anyone touches her, you'll what? Kill them? You can't kill everyone, Siwoo. And once they realize your weakness, they'll never stop coming. The truth of it settled like ice in Siwoo's chest. He left Minjun to finish the job and went upstairs to find Dorothy. She was in the garden with Ji-hoon, letting him feel grass for the first time. The baby's delighted giggles filled the air. Siwoo watched from the doorway, memorizing the scene, because he knew what he had to do. That evening, after Ji-hoon was asleep, Siwoo called Dorothy to his study. We need to discuss your safety. I'm safe here. Your security is exceptional. My security failed when I got shot. And now that people know you're important to me, you're a target. So what are you suggesting? I want to send you away. Somewhere secure. Somewhere they can't find you. Dorothy stood abruptly. No, Dorothy, no! I'm not running. I'm not hiding. And I'm certainly not leaving Ji-hoon. This is for your protection. This is you making decisions for me again. I told you that's not how this works. This is different. This is life and death. Then we face it together. You, me, and Ji-hoon. I can't lose you. The confession burst out before Siwoo could stop it. I can't. Camila died because I couldn't protect her. If something happens to you, if they hurt you because of me, Dorothy moved to him, cupped his face. Listen to me. I chose to stay. I chose this life. I chose you. You don't get to take that choice away because you're scared. I'm terrified. So am I. But we don't face that by separating. We face it together. What if I can't keep you safe? Then we'll die trying. But we do it together. Siwoo pulled her close, rested his forehead against hers. You're stubborn. You're controlling. We're a disaster. Probably. They kissed. Tentative at first, then deeper. A kiss that tasted of fear and hope, and desperate need. When they broke apart, Siwoo said, If you stay, things will get dangerous. My enemies will target you. Life will never be normal. I stopped believing in normal the day my daughter died. Dangerous with you is better than safe alone. All right, we do this together. Together. The attack came 2 nights later. Dorothy woke to gunfire at 2 a.m. She grabbed Ji-hoon from his crib, heart hammering. The baby started to cry. Shh, baby, shh. It's okay. I've got you. Siwoo burst through the door. We need to move, now. What's happening? Full assault, multiple entry points. Minjun's men are holding them, but we need to get to the safe room. They ran through the mansion, following Siwoo to a hidden panic room behind his study. Steel-reinforced, self-contained, designed to withstand a siege. Inside, Dorothy held Ji-hoon close while Siwoo monitored security feeds. How many? She asked. At least 20. Professional crew. This isn't random. Who? Lee Syndicate. They've been wanting my territory for years. They're using the chaos from the betrayal to strike. Gunfire echoed through the house. Dorothy watched the feeds showing Sai-Woo's men fighting desperately. We can't just hide here while they die for us, she said. We can, and we will. That's their job. Si-Woo, I won't risk you or Ji-hoon. Not for anything. Hours passed. The fighting intensified. Then, slowly, began to wind down. Min-jun's voice crackled through the intercom. Boss, we've repelled them. Building is secure. Si-Woo exhaled. Casualties? 4 of ours, 12 of theirs. We captured 3 alive for questioning. Good. We're coming out. They emerged to find the mansion damaged but standing. Blood stained the marble floors. The smell of gunpowder hung in the air. Dorothy held Ji-hoon tighter, shielding his eyes from the carnage. This is my world, Si-Woo said quietly. This is what you're choosing. I know. And you still want to stay. Dorothy looked at him, this dangerous, powerful, broken man who'd let her into his life. I'm not going anywhere. I told you. I won't let you go either. Si-Woo pulled her close, careful of Ji-hoon between them. Then we end this. Lee Syndicate wanted war. They're going to get one they'll never forget. The war lasted 3 weeks. Brutal, bloody, decisive. Sai-Woo unleashed the full force of his organization, not just violence, but strategy. He cut Lee Syndicate's supply lines, turned their allies, exposed their operations to authorities. When it ended, the Lee Syndicate was scattered, leaderless, and broken. And the underworld learned a valuable lesson. Don't threaten what Si-Woo Kang loves. 1 month after the final battle, Dorothy stood in the nursery watching Ji-hoon play with blocks. He was 6 months old now, strong, happy, completely unaware that he had been at the center of a gang war. Si-Woo entered, wrapped his arms around her from behind. What are you thinking? That I almost ran. That first night, when you asked me to stay, I almost said no. Why didn't you? Because I saw something in your eyes. Desperation, yes, but also hope. Like, maybe I could fix something broken. You did. You fixed everything. She turned in his arms. I didn't fix anything. We healed each other. Past tense, present continuous. We're still healing. Si-Woo kissed her forehead. I have something for you. He pulled out a small box. Inside, a ring. Simple, elegant, beautiful. I'm not asking you to marry me, he said quickly. Not yet, but this is a promise. That you're mine. That I'm yours. That we're a family now. Dorothy's eyes filled with tears. Sai-Woo, you saved my son's life. You brought peace to a haunted house. You made me remember what it feels like to be human, and His voice cracked. I love you. I'm in love with you, and I won't let you go. Not ever. That's very possessive. I'm a mafia boss. Possessive is in the job description. She laughed through tears. I love you too. Your darkness, your danger, your broken, beautiful heart, all of it. He slipped the ring on her finger. So you'll stay. I told you, I'm not going anywhere. They kissed while Ji-hoon babbled happily, playing with his blocks, completely unaware that his father and the woman who'd become his mother had just promised themselves to each other. 1 year later, Ji-hoon took his first steps on a sunny afternoon in the garden. Dorothy cheered. Si-Woo filmed everything. Min-jun pretended he wasn't crying. That evening, they sat together on the terrace, Ji-hoon between them, babbling about nothing and everything. "Do you ever regret it?" Dorothy asked. "That night I walked into the convenience store?" "Never. Best night of my life. Even though it led to gang wars and assassination attempts?" "Even then, because it led to you." Dorothy leaned against him. "I came to Seoul to escape grief. I found you instead. Was I a good substitute? You're not a substitute. You're a second chance." Siwoo pulled her close, careful of Ji-hoon between them. "I love you." "I love you too." Ji-hoon grabbed both their hands, pulled them together. "Ma! Da!" Dorothy's breath caught. His first words. Siwoo's eyes filled with tears. "Did he just—" "He called us Mama and Dada," Dorothy whispered. Because that's what they'd become. Not through blood, but through choice. Through showing up every day. Through loving each other and this little boy who'd brought them together. The devil of Seoul had found redemption in a convenience store at 3 a.m., and the woman who'd lost everything had found a family in the most unlikely place. Together, they'd built something neither thought possible. Home. So that's how one act of mercy, one moment of gentleness in a rain-soaked convenience store, changed 3 lives forever. Dorothy Stowers came to Seoul to escape grief. Siwoo Kang was drowning in it. And baby Ji-hoon was caught between worlds, haunted by a mother's love that couldn't let go. But sometimes the broken pieces fit together perfectly. Sometimes a stranger becomes family. Sometimes love appears in the darkest places and refuses to let go. What would you have done if a mafia boss asked you to care for his cursed baby? Would you have run or stayed? Let me know in the comments. And if you loved this dark romance about a found family, supernatural healing, and choosing love despite the danger, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell because I have more incredible stories coming your way. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most dangerous decision is also the most beautiful one.